Enable Ireland supports children with disabilities all over Ireland, just like me.
Support children like Kyle by popping your pre-loved clothes, accessories and homeware in a bag and donating it at any TK Maxx. Each bag could raise up to €20 for Enable Ireland. Give up clothes for good at TK Maxx.
And take action for children with disabilities.
Two things. One, apparently the meteorologists in Pittsburgh aren't much more accurate than Ben Roethlisberger is. Two, I don't know if you saw, but Antonio Brown dyed his mustache yellow, so that means 6 more weeks of winter.
Oh.
Yep.
I thought that meant he was going to WrestleMania.
Oh, that's right, brother.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Donut Bag, part of the Pod Hub Network. In this episode, I welcome back Donnie Druin from SteelersNow in the Pylon Podcast. And we talk all things Steelers. We try to make sense of all the craziness going on. There's a lot of it. Anyway, the Donut Bag starts right now.
All right, all kinds of stuff going on with the Steelers. With me to talk about it, I welcome back Donnie Druin from SteelersNow and the Pylon Podcast. How are you, Donnie?
Joe, I'm good. It's getting closer to March, so I'm getting ready to watch the Duke North Carolina game as we speak. Getting ready to kind of prep myself for March Madness, fill out the brackets. But
you know what? I need to do that still. I have no idea what's going on. I know Zion Williamson is the greatest player that ever lived, and so obviously you just got to fill out the other 60 some brackets because obviously Duke is going all the way, and
63 other teams in Duke.
Right, because that's how that works. Actually, I have terrible news. This just came in today. This is actually breaking news on the Donut Bag Podcast. The Steelers, they're not even going to play this year. They are forfeiting the 2019 season. They're losing Antonio Brown. They're losing Le'Veon Bell, and that's it. There won't even be a 53-man roster. It'll be a 51-man roster. They're not even going to. It's like when you retire a number. They're retiring those roster spots. They're not even going to field a full team.
Well, it's a good thing we'll be able to keep warm with everybody burning their jerseys.
They're burning their jerseys, and also their hot takes. That's also keeping us warm. Oh my goodness. We were talking before we started. Social media has been just crazy. I've seen so much of people that hate the Steelers and even Steeler fans saying, well, that's it. There's the window. The window's closed. That's it. There's no way the Steelers can recover from losing Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, and that's it. We're done.
The best people are the people that try to loop other players that aren't involved in. I don't know if you saw, but I put out a Twitter poll today, hey, who's more of a villain in your eyes, Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell? And I got people flying in with Ben Roethlisberger rape comments, Mike Tomlin. It's just oh my God, man.
Ben Roethlisberger is the reason. Well, we had a snowstorm here in Pittsburgh, and the reason was Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger has created a weather machine, and he made a snowstorm right just as the morning commute started, just to really screw with us. So he's responsible for the weather. Every weird thing Antonio Brown has done has been because of Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger is the fault of everything. If you have any ache or pain on your body, it's because of Ben Roethlisberger.
Two things. One, apparently the meteorologists in Pittsburgh aren't much more accurate than Ben Roethlisberger is. Two, I don't know if you saw, but Antonio Brown dyed his mustache yellow, so that means 6 more weeks of winter.
Oh.
Yep.
I thought that meant he was going to WrestleMania.
Oh, that's right, brother.
It's ridiculous, and I'm so tired of it. It just in my opinion, Ben is getting way too much blame for some reason the national quote unquote experts have decided that Antonio Brown is just a poor innocent figure, and it's that horrible Ben Roethlisberger that says mean things to him on his radio show, and that's why and that's the reason for Antonio Brown leaving the Steelers.
It really just depends on who you talk to and where you live, I suppose. I've heard maybe 10 or 12 different reasons why Antonio Brown is leaving the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger being 10 or 12 of those reasons.
Yeah.
You could say what you want. Personally, I don't think Ben should, do his radio show gig. That's a whole nother topic of discussion. But luckily, Steelers general manager Kevin Colbert came out and said today that, Ben is 100%, a bona fide leader, and players should kind of take up after him. And it's kind of refreshing to hear somebody in the Steelers upper management come out and, back their franchise quarterback up.
Yeah. It's just crazy. And one of the ideas that was floated around today by one of the talk show hosts is there should be a way, if possible, that the Steelers can just ban their players from going on social media and doing these radio shows, because they're nothing but detrimental. There's no good that comes from them going on social media, and the Ben's radio show has caused a lot of problems. So if possible, I know it's there. I think there's no way it's even possible, but they should just ban it.
Yeah, sadly, it's the world we live in. Social media is probably one of the biggest tools, not just for like professional athletes, but really anybody that that has a job and can communicate with other people. So I think it'd be extremely hard to put a limit on social media, especially for players, where the NFL wants these guys to engage with fans and kind of get their following up. So
yeah. So you brought up a poll, basically, who's the bigger villain? Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell. Another poll I saw was, who is going to have the better season in 2019, Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown? I don't know. I think they're both going to suck.
Really? I think Antonio will be able to produce. I'm going to take the cop-out answer. It just depends on where they go. It's entirely dependent on who gets them.
Here's my dream scenario. They both end up on the Jets.
I thought you were going to say Buffalo there for a second, because
Buffalo would be
that's
nice
been
too.
The other team. Yeah.
The only business that's booming in Buffalo is like the kerosene heater business or something.
Hey, and Buffalo wings.
And Buffalo wing, yeah. But I keep hearing that Le'Veon Bell he's out of shape. He's not going to have that desire to become, the best. And he's not going to be training as hard as he used to because he's been away so long, and he's fat and all this other stuff. So we'll see. And yeah, you're right. It depends on where they go. The other topic is, what do you think they'll get for Antonio Brown? Do you think they'll actually get a first rounder, or are they lucky to get a second or third rounder?
That's the golden question, and that's kind of what we're going to have to wait and figure it out. I don't think we'll see Antonio Brown traded for quite a while, just because if he's traded from the start of the league year, which is March 13th, all the way up until March 17th, so that's a 5-day window, the Steelers would eat about $21 million in dead cap space if they traded him. So if they hang on to him, they would have to pay him like a $2.5 million signing bonus. But if they trade him after June 1st, they would be able to spread that dead cap space out within the next 2 years. So personally, I think that's the smarter way to go. Just because if you're not going to have this guy on your team, why have him take up what is it, a 1/10 of your salary cap?
Right.
Even if that.
For nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's such a hard thing to gauge, because if you're judging it off of talent alone, yeah, he's absolutely worth a first round pick. But you also have to take in consideration he's 31 years old. We all saw his Instagram live rant. He wants more guaranteed money, And you have to assume that a new contract extension, or at least a reworked, like restructured deal, is going to be in the works before Antonio Brown plays football again, because he's not due any more guaranteed money. Whenever the Steelers converted his 2018 base salary into a signing bonus, that was it. So anything can happen to him in the next 3 years, and he's not owed a single penny. And I think that's kind of Antonio's big beef is I think it's all about money. So that's why you're seeing teams with a lot of cap space linked to trading for Antonio Brown. It's just tough. With you consider all the off-field antics as well, and how he's become kind of this big-headed diva, and you never really know what you're going to get from him. It's like, well, how much does that impact them? And sure, the Steelers can come out and say, hey, we're not going to settle for any deals on Antonio. We're not giving any discounts. That's all fine and great. But it doesn't matter what you think of Antonio or how much he's worth. It matters what other teams think.
It's funny.
That's a big question.
It's funny. Kevin Colbert today said, hey, we don't have to trade him. We were only going to trade him if we get, a proper return. What do you want him to say? First of all, Rooney came out a couple months ago and said, I don't see him ever coming back, or I don't envision him, ever returning. And then he goes down to, Miami, and they meet, and they basically agree, hey, you're gone. So of course what's Culver going to say? Yeah, we'll take a conditional 7th round pick for him. Just whatever. I mean, obviously he's going to say, something to try to give him some kind of leverage. But another good poll I saw, I think it was about 50-50, was what's the real reason that Antonio Brown left? Was it because he has a beef with Ben, or is it because he wants a new contract? I kind of think it might be this all this social media craziness might be a trick, and this might just be all about a new contract. Although I would think if it was about a new contract, he would, quote unquote, try to hold out and try to get more money from the Steelers or something. Yeah,
and you look at his behavior on social media, and it's sporadic to the point where people think he's gone bat. Crazy. You see all the posts, and he dyed his mustache blonde, like we referred to earlier. He has this blue sour gummy worm in his hair now. It's just it's so different. He's acting just so sporadic. For whenever he gets hungry, it's smart.
Yeah.
But I think it honestly might be a healthy mixture of both. Whether or not we want to admit it, there were times where Antonio was extremely frustrated with Ben Roethlisberger throughout the year, and Antonio can come to the media and say, the Wi-Fi is lit, this and that. But Ben carries a lot of weight in Pittsburgh. Whether that's good or bad, that's a different topic. But what Ben says kind of goes whenever it comes to the Steelers, and I guess he and Brown didn't see eye to eye on an issue, and one thing led to another, and next thing you know, Antonio's not playing in Week 17.
I think there's a number of factors. I think his problem with Ben was the main thing. Let's go back about a year. They got rid of Todd Haley as the offensive coordinator, and they put in basically Ben's friend. And so basically that means, and the joke was, well, now Ben's the offensive coordinator. Ben has, basically won that little power struggle with Todd Haley. So, that balances the power more for Ben. And I don't think Antonio Brown liked that. I don't think Antonio Brown liked that that Ben skipped OTAs, and that he got quote unquote preferential treatment. And I think Juju had a lot to do with that too. Juju, people were saying, oh, who's the real number one wide receiver on this team now, which is a joke, but Juju winning the MVP didn't help things. So
numbers wise, it's not even that much of a joke. I mean, Juju had himself a phenomenal year, and we saw it with Martavis Bryant. He tends to make other receivers in Pittsburgh just a little bit self-conscious about themselves.
Yeah, but the argument can be made Juju had such a great year because all